The Volospa, the Vulva's prophecy. Shush now, you sacred ones, all creeds of Heimdall's sons. Today, for father, I'll try to retell tales of the ancients and the long-gone gods. Stanza 1 of the Volospa, the first story of the Poetic Edda by an unknown author. The Volospa, sorry for my pronunciations of these, I don't speak Icelandic. I speak some Danish, but not Icelandic. The Volospa is the first story of the Poetic Edda. It was written in about the 1270s CE-ish by an unknown author, it's mostly poems from the Codex Regius, which is a mysterious document of stuff. And the Volospa, so the Poetic Edda is a compilation of Old Norse mythological poetry. It's the most studied of the two Eddas, compared to its younger brother, the Prose Edda, which, the Volospa is the Norse creation myth. It's also the first story in the Poetic Edda. So this preamble out of the way, on to the mythological summary. So the first four things in the world are Muspelheim, Niflheim, the Ginnungagap, and Othumla, and Ymir. So Ymir camps out in the Ginnungagap. Then Othumla, who's a cow, looks for the ice from Buri, who mystically, I don't know why he's a male, I'm gonna assume, because that's how he's referred to, has Bur as a child, even though there are no other people. Then Bur's sons, Vili, Ve, and Odin, kill Ymir and use his corpse to make Midgard. Then all the Aesir meet up and have a great party. They're probably playing on their Nintendo Switches for gods, playing some Mario Kart, Mario Party, I don't know, having fun. Then three giants come out of Jotunheim and tell the gods to start working on making the dwarves. Now, one quick thing. Tolkien stole tons of dwarf names because he just enjoyed the classics. So he stole them from these next 6 stanzas. Here's the list. There's Nori, Bifur, Bohur, Bombur, Gandalf, who's not a dwarf in Middle-earth. He's a wizard, if you haven't watched or read the Lord of the Rings. But in Norse myth he is Thorin, Fili, Kili, and Ori. It's 10 of the 13 dwarves in this world. Because there are 13 dwarves in the Lord of the Rings that are alive at the time of the story, I think. Then 3 of the gods head down to Midgard and make the people. Then the Norns create Yggdrasil. And then they describe the shape of the Norse world. Yggdrasil, the world tree, is at its center with Erd's well at the bottom, which is what Yggdrasil has grown out of. Then Asgard, Vanaheim, and Alfheim on the top. Asgard is the land of the Aesir. Vanaheim is the land of sort of another group of gods called the Vanir, which we'll get more into later. And Alfheim is the land of the elves. They're on the top of the tree. Then Jotunheim, Midgard, and Nidvalir are in the middle. Jotunheim is the land of the giants. It's very similar to Earth, but giants. Midgard is the land of the peoples, and Nidvalir is the land of the dwarves, where the dwarves live. Then there's Niflheim, Muspelheim, and Hel on the bottom. Niflheim is a land of ice and snow. Think Greenland, but with ice people. Then there's Muspelheim, which is the land, which is the opposite of Niflheim. It's basically imagine the surface of the sun, but with rocks. So that's Muspelheim. And then there's Hel, which we don't really know about because no one who's gone into Hel has ever come back. But it's where the unhonorable dead go. So people who weren't honorable enough to go up to Valhalla. They live in Hel, and we're not sure what Hel is like, but most people think it's a sort of continuation of their mortal life, but with more afterlife characteristics. We're not really sure. Then the Volospa records the first war, the Aesir Vanir War. So it's the sorceress named Gulvig appearing at Asgard. Now Gulvig can change the fate weaved by the Norns. Not much, but the power she wields is super in demand, since a little bit of a change to fate is still a change to fate. And so after a time, the gods start bickering with each other over her power. Some of them assume that she was sent to Asgard to make the gods kill each other over her. They tie her up and stab her with spears and light her on fire 3 times. She survives all 3, and they banish her. Then the Vanir are pissed at the Aesir since they tried to kill one of them, because, fun fact, Gullveig was a Vanir, even though the Aesir didn't know of the Vanir at this point, I'm not really sure. Odin flings his spear into the Vanir and the war begins. After much fighting, the Aesir and the Vanir make a peace. They start with exchanging hostages, but the Aesir give them a simpleton and a wise dude to trick the Vanir into taking some lamos. And on the other hand, the Vanir give them good hostages. So back to where they go. After a lot more fighting, both of the sets of gods make peace. To make peace, they chew one wineberry, and each god chews one wineberry in particular. Not just like, oh, I chew a wineberry, I spit it into your mouth, you chew the same wineberry, and now, and spits each of the wineberries into a bowl. Then they make this wine into a new being called Mimir. Go. Now, the last part of the Volospa is a prophecy of the end of the world, Ragnarok. This part's very long, at least in the runtime of the poem, so let's start. Okay, so it starts with Fimbulvinter, 3 consecutive winters on Midgard. Then Yggdrasil shakes, releasing Fenrir from chains of impossible things. It also awakens Jormungandr, the world serpent. After Jormungandr awakes, he destroys Midgard. Then Fenrir eats the sun and the moon. All the gods go charge into battle against Loki's kids, because Hel brought an army of the dead to go fight the gods and all the guys of Valhalla. And they fight. Odin is immediately eaten by Fenrir, but is avenged by one of Odin's kids. Thor will battle Jormungandr, and he'll win, but after 9 steps, he'll die. He'll succumb to poison and his wounds. Then Yggdrasil will catch fire, and the world will sink into the ocean. Eventually, the land will resurface, and Baldur will come back from the dead. The world will be reborn with a new god of everything good, because Baldur's basically a god of everything good, and 2 humans who are hiding in a tree. Is it just me, or does it seem like someone tried to wrangle Christianity out of this? Like, hey, you don't just stop worshipping your old gods, but there's this new, you want to go try out Yahweh, this fancy smack dab new god, even though he's already 3,000 years old. You want to go try out Yahweh and become Christian? You know, we're all just living in the aftermath of Ragnarok, guys. Come on. Why not try to worship Baldur under the guise of Yahweh?